All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Racha Kodash, double honors unto the apostles, the elders, and the bishops of Great Millstone. I want to send much love to the brothers out there doing this work in truth and sincerity. And I also want to send peace and blessings unto the believers of the hopeful elect. And in this lesson, I wanted to speak about the Assyrian king Sennacherib and also get into how he had encounters with our forefathers, in particular with Hezekiah, king of Judah, and how pretty much this king here, he's a person who actually lived, all right, and that what the Bible says is historically accurate, okay? A lot of people like to disprove the Bible and say that, it's made up, it's a fairy tale, but when you actually get into the Holy Scriptures and you dig into the information, you found out that biblical history and world history, right, or archaeology says the same story, man, okay? And this guy here, Sennacherib, okay, he plays a big part in, revealing the truth of the Scriptures, okay? As in a history-wise, all right? Because this guy actually existed, and he did a lot of things, okay? So, as you can see here, I have him pulled up on the World History Encyclopedia. So I'll read a little bit about this guy here, and I'll also read a little bit of the scriptures, okay, to show you that it go hands in hand. So therefore, to start here, it says Sennacherib reigned 705 to 681 BCE, was the second king of the Sargonid dynasty of Assyria, founded by his father Sargon II, reigned 722 to 705 BCE. Now the scriptures also speaks about Sargon II, all right? He's mentioned in the Bible, okay? If you go here to Isaiah 20 verse 1, I'll read it real quick. It says, Isaiah 20 and 1, in the year that Tartan came unto Ashdod, when Sargon, the king of Assyria, sent him, he fought against Ashdod and took it. So Sennacherib's father, Sargon, is mentioned in the Holy Bible, okay? And you can go read about this guy here, all right? And the thing that he did during his reign, okay? But he is the father of Sennacherib, right? The guy that we're focusing in on today. It says, in the modern age, his fame also rests on the poem, The Destruction of Sennacherib, 815, by the English poet Lord Byron, a retelling of the Assyrian siege of Jerusalem of 1701 BCE as related in the Bible. So I wanted to show you real quick, right, that this guy here, Sennacherib, is spoken of in the scriptures real quick. Then I'm going to get back to that article. This is 2 Kings 18 and 13. It says, now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, come up against all the fenced cities of Judah and took them. And this is the information that I want to lock in on, is how he besieged Jerusalem, okay? Because it's spoken about in his own records, right, of his campaigns that he took against different nations, but also against Jerusalem, right? A very famous account in world history and in biblical history, okay? So jumping down here, okay, because I'm not going to read all of this, man, but you can read through it. But I want to jump down here to his campaigns, right, and get to the point of Israel. So as you can see, it says for the rebellions and campaigns. So I want to get to the point. Here it says, In 701 BCE, Sennacherib marched his armies into the region to put down the revolts. The Assyrian appointed king Ekron, meanwhile, had been taken to Jerusalem in chains and handed over to Hezekiah, who imprisoned him. Sennacherib was busy with the siege of the city of Lachish, and so he sent his envoys to Jerusalem to demand the release of the imprisoned king and the city's surrender. It says Byron notes that they were not just any envoys, but Sennacherib's own general, chief officer, and field commander, and they arrived at the head of a large army. While these officers dealt with the Jerusalem problem, Sennacherib concentrated on reducing Lachish by siege. The historian Simeon Anglim describes the Assyrian assault. So I want to focus in on when it says he sent envoys, right? They're spoken about in the Holy Scriptures, man. And we're going to read about this because these guys was talking big talk, okay? I mean, they was talking cash money to Hezekiah and our forefathers, man. All right. Now we're gonna read some of this here, man. All right, so that you can see what was actually going on and what transpired when he sent his generals to Jerusalem. All right. So this is 2 Kings chapter 18 and verse 17. It says, "And the king of Assyria sent Tartan and Rabsaris and Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah with a great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem. And when they were come up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fuller's field." It says, "And when they had called to the king, there came out to them Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah, the son of Asaph the recorder. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah. Thus said the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein thou trusted? Thou sayest, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for the war. Now on whom dost thou trust, that thou rebellest against me?" And up in this verse here, it tells you how Hezekiah, he rebelled against King Sennacherib, and they were like pretty much like pissed him off, Even though Hezekiah did pay him tribute, but he still was pissed off that Hezekiah, had the balls to rebel against him, right? And so he didn't like that, man. This guy Sennacherib was very pompous and proud, okay? It says, "Now behold, thou trusted upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt, on which if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt unto all that trust on him," right? And the Assyrians, they actually defeated the Egyptians in battle, okay? It says, "But if ye say unto me, We trust in the Lord our God, is not that he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah had taken away, and had said to Judah and to Jerusalem, Ye shall worship before this altar in Jerusalem?" It says, "Now therefore I pray thee, give pledges to my lord, the king of Assyria, and I will deliver thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them. How then wilt thou turn away the face of one captain of a lease of one of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen?" It says, "Am I not come up without the Lord against this place to destroy it? The Lord said to me, Go up against this land and destroy it." Then said Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and Shebna and Joah unto Rabshakeh, "Speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and talk not with us in the Jews' language in the ears of the people that are on the wall." So they were like, "Hey, look, man, talk to us in the Syrian language, okay? Don't speak to us in Hebrew, because you're going to, pretty much put fear inside the people," all right? and make them panic because this guy was talking big talk. It says, and Rabshakeh said unto them, had my master sent me to thy master and to thee to speak these words? Had he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall, that they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language and spake, saying, hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus said the king, let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord Yahweh, saying the Lord will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus said the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me. Then eat ye every man his own vine, and every one his own fig tree, and drink ye every one the waters of his cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, right? Which the Assyrians, their kings were famous for that, man. They were famous for conquering nations and then transporting the people, right? As we saw with the previous king, right? What's his name? Shalmaneser the fifth, right? Also Tiglath-Pileser the third, okay? But really, Shalmaneser the fifth, he was the main Assyrian king who took captive the northern kingdom, man, and brought them into the land of Assyria. Okay, so they was known for that. It says a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of oil, olive, and of honey, that ye may live and not die, and hearken not unto Hezekiah when he persuaded you, saying, the Lord will deliver us. It says, had any of the gods of the nations delivered at all his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? So he's saying, look, man, y'all, don't let Hezekiah fool y'all to my something. How we're going to save y'all. Then he started to boast about the different gods of the nations, how they couldn't even save their people. So how the Lord going to save y'all from me, right? It says, where are the gods of Hamath and Apar? Where are the gods of Seraphim, Henah, and Avah? Have they delivered Samaria out of mine hand? Who are they among all the gods of the countries that had delivered their country out of my hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? So he's saying, look, even the Most High can't even stop me from taking down Jerusalem, man. So this nigga was talking crazy, right? It says, but the people held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's command was saying, answer him not. Then came Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. So there was trouble, man, right? Saying that, the Assyrians, that was having success in taking down Jake and the other countries, man. And keep in mind, they showed up with a mighty host, okay, to take down Jake, man, and to besiege the city, right? So, getting back here to this article here, right? Jumping down, it says, Lachish was taken and the population slaughtered. Those who were spared were deported to the regions in Assyria. So you see that they always, deported people, man. It says, while the siege was underway, the envoys outside the gates of Jerusalem were in negotiations with Hezekiah's representatives, right? Which I just read that. It says, referring to Egypt as a splinter reed, which could be of no help to the city, the Assyrian general addressed Hezekiah's men loudly in Hebrew rather than Aramaic, so that the people lining the city walls could understand him. When Hezekiah representatives asked him to speak in Aramaic so that the people would not panic, the general refused, saying, this message is for them too. Like you, they will have to eat their own dung and drink their own urine. Hezekiah released the king of Ekron and sent 11 tons of silver and a ton of gold to Sennacherib at Lachish. The Assyrian army withdrew from Jerusalem to fight the Egyptians at Eltekah. It says they defeated the Egyptian forces, then marched back to the region of the Levant and put down the rebellions at Akron, Tyre, and Sidon. So getting to this, it says the siege of Jerusalem, right? We're going to focus in on this right here, man. The siege of Jerusalem. It says, with order now restored and with order now restored and rebellious populations are decimated and deported, Sennacherib turned his attention again to Jerusalem. Although Hezekiah had paid him a handsome tribute, Sennacherib was not one to forgive and forget. He marched on the city and, according to his inscriptions, took it by siege. Now, let's go to that inscription here, right? This is a paragraph, okay, taken from that inscription. And Lord willing, I'll read through it, but I want to show you this inscription here, all right? From this article, it says 3 Assyrian inscriptions about Hebrew kings. Now, jumping down here, right, it says the siege of Jerusalem under Hezekiah in the annals of Sennacherib, okay? And this is that annal, all right, of Sennacherib in Assyrian cuneiform, and he talks about his besiege on Jerusalem, okay? It says the Taylor Prism records Sennacherib's conquest in Judah. It is currently housed in the British Museum. It says in 2 Kings 18:13, we read, in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified cities of Judah and took them. This was in response to Hezekiah's rebellion against the Assyrian king, refusing to serve him as a vassal. Sennacherib's army laid siege to the city of Lachish and Jerusalem as part of this campaign. While he eventually took the city of Lachish, Sennacherib was unable to take Jerusalem because the Lord delivered his people, right? And if you read 2 Kings 19, right, it speaks about how, Hezekiah sent his representatives to Isaiah the prophet, right? He prayed and inquired of the Lord, and the Lord told him pretty much, hey, look, this guy ain't going to take the city, okay? Even though he was talking big, right? He was talking big stuff, but he's not going to take the city, man. And you can read here, right, from 2 Kings 19:32-35, how the Lord sent an angel to destroy the Assyrian army, okay? And I'll read it real quick. It says, therefore thus said the Lord concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into the city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shield, nor cast a bank against it. By the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and shall not come into this city, said the Lord. For I will defend this city, to save it for mine own sake, and for my servant David's sake. And it came to pass that night that the angel of the Lord Yahweh went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000, 185,000 men of the Assyrian army. It says, and when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses, right? So the Lord, he delivered Israel, man, okay? So going back to this information, it says, archaeological confirmation of Sennacherib's campaign into Judah can be seen both in the Lachish reliefs from his palace at Nineveh, as well as in his official records. It says, the Taylor Prism was discovered at the site of ancient Nineveh by a Colonial Taylor in 1830. It is a hexagonal prism that records the annals of Sennacherib in Akkadian cuneiform. 2 other prisms have been discovered with the same text, the Jerusalem prism and the Oriental Institute prism, but the Taylor prism is the best preserved. In it, Sennacherib's boasts, as for Hezekiah the Judite, who had not submitted to my yoke, I surrounded 46 of his strong walled towns and innumerable small places around them, and conquered them by means of earth ramps and siege engines. Attacked by infantrymen, mining, breaching, and scaling, 200,000, hello, 200,150 people, excuse me, tongue twister, um, people of our rank, men and women, horses, mules, donkeys, camels, cattle, and sheep without number I brought out and counted as spoil. He himself I shut up in Jerusalem, his royal city, like a bird in a cage. I put watch posts around him and made it impossible for anyone to go out of his city. So this guy was talking big, man. Okay. This is what he said in his inscription. All right. But guess what? Out of all that BS that he was talking and his generals, guess what? They never took the city, man. Okay. And we're going to get into more information about that. It says, a Sennacherib goes on in his tailored prison to boast. Now the fear of my lordly splendor overwhelmed that of Hezekiah, and to confirm that the Judite king did indeed pay him tribute, 2 Kings 18:14. It is interesting to note that Sennacherib does not boast of conquering Jerusalem, but merely shutting Hezekiah up in his royal city like a bird in a cage. So they talked all that noise against Hezekiah, how they were going to take Jerusalem, but they never took it, man. So he put all of this inside of his annal, right? Like he did something, though he did, take cities from Hezekiah, right? And he besieged them, but he never took down Jerusalem, man. Okay, so he was just talking a bunch of stuff, man, as all those ancient kings used to do. Talk a bunch of noise, push a bunch of a propaganda, man. Okay, that was known for that. So yeah, and this pretty much say the same thing. All right, but jumping down here, it says, according to the biblical record of the event, however, the siege was lifted through divine intervention. The book of 2 Kings 18 and 19, the book of 2 Chronicles 32, and the book of Isaiah chapter 37, all claim that Sennacherib laid siege to Jerusalem, but the prophet Isaiah told Hezekiah he had nothing to fear because the Most High would defend the city, right? And I just read that there in 2 Kings 19. That's also recorded in Isaiah 37, right? So jumping down here, okay, this is also another account, all right, of the Assyrian army being defeated. Now, this is the point of view of the Egyptians, okay? This is what they had to say about this guy Sennacherib army being defeated, man, all right? It says, scholars have cited Herodotus, okay? He was a Greek historian, okay? A lot of history, what we know today, comes from this guy, Herodotus, okay? It says, account of the Assyrian misfortune in battle against Egypt at the city of Pelusium in regards to their siege of Jerusalem. Herodotus writes that the Egyptian leader Sethos prayed to his God for help in defeating the massive Assyrian army. And the God sent into the Assyrian camp a swarm of field mice who gnawed through their quivers and their bows and the handlers of their shields as well, so that the next day, weaponless, all they could do was flee, and their losses were heavy. So the Egyptian account of what the scripture says is that they prayed to their God and he sent some field mice, okay? And the field mice, chewed through all their equipment, right, all of their weaponry, and then the Assyrian army fled. No, okay? That didn't happen. But at least they are given an account of the army being defeated, okay? But the scriptures say that the Lord sent the angel, right, to defeat their army, man. But even outside of the scriptures, you have an account of Sennacherib's army being defeated, man. So what the Bible says is true, All right, what happened was that army got defeated, man, by the Lord. Okay, but they said that their gods did it. It says, it is thought that both stories refer to a plague that struck the Assyrian camp and devastated the army on two separate occasions. Whatever happened outside of Jerusalem, whether God's intervention, a plague, or God's intervention in the form of the plague, the city remained intact and Sennacherib returned to Nineveh. So what the Lord gave us in the word, man, is true. The Assyrian army was defeated, all right? And Herodotus, he wrote down the account that the Egyptians gave of how they were defeated, but the Egyptians, created their gods, saying that our gods, they defeated the Assyrian army and not giving glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, but they, whatever. Okay. But we know what happened, man. The Most High, he defeated them. And the angel put them to death, man. And Sennacherib took his long head back home, man. Okay. He was talking all this stuff like he was somebody great, but the Lord defeated him, right? So going here back to 2 Kings, once again, it says 2 Kings 19:35, and it came to pass that night that the angel of the Lord Yahweh went out and smote the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt at Nineveh. So he was talking all this stuff inside of his annal, but he never said that he took Jerusalem. He never said he took it because the Most High defeated the nigga, man, and he went back home. It says, and it came to pass as he was worshiping in the house of Nisroch, his god, that Adrammelech and Sharezer, his son, smote him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Armenia, and Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead. So secular history and biblical history goes hand in hand, man. All right. There's no doubt about it. Everything that our forefathers strived down in the scriptures is true, man. Look, bro, like they wasn't just making up names and making up accounts. These things actually took place, okay? And this guy, Sennacherib, all right, he wrote about Hezekiah, okay, the king of Judah, right, and his annal, okay, and this cuneiform annal here that they found going into the campaigns of Hezekiah. So you have circa dates, you have archaeology, and you have the biblical account, man. So I want to close out here. Lord willing, it was edifying, man, and I'll continue with these kings that I mentioned in the scriptures, these Assyrian kings. And I also get into that last king they had that fell to where they fell to Babylon and the Medes. Okay, I get into that, Lord willing, but that will be the end of the Assyrian kings, and then I'll go into the Babylonian kings. Okay, pretty much I'll be covering, the different kingdoms in the book of Daniel chapter 7, all right, and the different, kings mentioned in the scriptures that, pretty much showing you that secular history and biblical history goes hand in hand, man, okay? So the next king that I'll cover, as they mentioned here, is Esarhaddon, all right? I think I'll go into him next. And let me see real quick, because the different kings mentioned here. But if you go up here, yeah, so Esarhaddon is the next king. I go into him, and then I'll go to Ashurbanipal, all right? And then I'll get the last king who fell, and the kingdom fell in 612 BC, all right? And I get into that last king, then I'll transition into the Babylonian Empire. So the Lord willing, this was edifying, man. I'll praise you, how by Shem Shah by Shem Chakadash, the abundance unto the apostle, elders of great millstone, and peace and blessing to the elect. Shalom.